I'm here with Eunny, and we kind of like doing this together. And today we're going to do reversible cables.
That's right.
Maybe I should say you're going to do reversible cables, and I'm just kind of the fun person here.
Well, I've brought along this really great reversible cable scarf from designer Rebecca Daniels, and what a reversible cable really is. A lot of times when you want to make a scarf or any kind of wrap, you know, obviously you want a piece that you can wear on both sides. It's not going to have a right side and a wrong side, and that can be difficult with cable patterns because so many cable patterns are a stockinette stitch cable, you know, on a reverse stockinette ground or some other kind of thing that's not really easily reversible. There are a couple ways to make reversible cables, though, that look the same on both the front side and the back side.
That's really nice, isn't it, Eunny?
So, yeah, I mean, it's really a great technique, and it's much, much easier than you would think.
If you had a little shine to the yarn, would it be nice?
That would be nice. You know, I mean, this kind of thing is so flexible. You can really do whatever you want with it. And I mean, you can see in this scarf where it's exactly the same pattern, but done in sort of an unevenly applied cotton, it's got just a very different effect, you know, but at the same time, it's softer, a little bit more organic, and, you know, has a charm all on its own.
Either way, they're yummy to wear, right?
Exactly. Well, and another thing that's really nice about this style of reversible cable, and we'll get a little bit further into the mechanics of it in a minute, but one thing that's really nice about it is that it does create a really dense, thick fabric. So this scarf is really heavy and just lovely to wear, you know, really warm.
Warm.
Yeah.
Warm.
So why does it make such a thick fabric? Well, if you take a look, what just looks like just a regular cable here, you know, an eccentrically crossed cable where the cable crossings are not even. It just looks like a solid cable. If you pull the fabric apart slightly, you can see that it's actually 1 by 1 rib.
Right.
A knit one, a purl one, knit one, purl one.
I see that.
So it looks like a 6-stitch cable, three stitches crossing over 3, but it's actually a 12-stitch cable.
Okay.
In ribbing, and because on any given side, on this side you only see the knits,
And the other side, you see the
you
purl.
see what is a purl from this side, but is a knit from this side.
Okay.
So it creates a cable that's double thick, and double warm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you how to
It's like
actually
carrying along an extra yarn, right? That would make your knitting extra warm.
Well, but here just the single yarn is doing all the work for you. It's just so dense and thick. And actually you can see it even better on the swatch here. I've made my first 2 cable crossings on this side, but I haven't done anything here. And this is just what the fabric looks like on all the plain rows. It's just, it looks like a solid knit fabric, obviously, but if you pull apart the stitches, it's really ribbing.
Right.
That just shrinks, that just condenses up to make it look really tight. I am working with a chart, just a really simple chart actually. This is almost like a knitter's just notation of when to cross your cable rows and that kind of thing.
You actually could put it in your mind and know when to do it.
Well, and that's one of the really nice things about a scarf like this is that it's got a very logical flow to the pattern. You know, so on this scarf you're going to cross every 5th row. For the big cables you're going to cross every 5th row and every 11th row. And then for the small intermediary cables you're going to cross every 17th row, and the whole thing starts over again after 18 rows.
Well, and anybody can get this chart on the website.
Absolutely. So I'm going to show you actually how to do this. So we've made our first 2 cable crossings, and if you'll notice here, this is kind of a good trick to know. We cast it on only 40 stitches.
Okay.
Right? But just before our cable crossings, we increased up to, we added 20 more stitches. And why did we do that? Well, because if you, obviously cables shrink the width of your fabric.
Oh, okay.
Anywhere that the cable crosses, the fabric is going to be twice as thick and half as narrow, if that makes sense, since you're twisting one piece over the other. And that effect is even more pronounced in these ribbed cables. So you always want to cast on fewer stitches than you're going to need later, because otherwise, if you start with the right number of stitches, the cast on edge will flare out and ruffle. And that, you know, that might be a look you want, but in this case, it wasn't.
Right.
So we've come to a point now where we want to make our first reversible cable crossing.
Okay. So you're going to start, are you starting with a knit or a purl? Knit.
Well, so each cable is 12 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All of these stitches here, between here and the end of the needle, are going to become part of this cable.
Okay.
So we're going to cross 6 stitches over 6. And I'm going to take my cable needle here, just this short little bent needle that I've got, and I'm going to just slip the first 6 stitches to the cable needle,
cable needle?
purlwise.
Yeah.
2.
Okay, slip purlwise onto the needle, 6 stitches. Half the stitches.
Exactly. And I am going to slip all the stitches purlwise, whether they're knits or purls.
Okay.
And for this cable, since the cable is crossing to the right, I'm going to put the cable needle to the back of the work. I'm going to hold these stitches to the back.
Okay.
Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and knit the next 6 stitches.
Okay.
And that's really what a cable is, just knitting your stitches out of order in a certain way.
Yeah, crossing them over.
Exactly.
Would that be a good way to say
exactly.
it? Okay.
Exactly. Just putting these stitches out of sequence, which crosses them.
Right.
So now I'm going to just knit the next half of the cable in pattern. So it's going to be a knit,
Purl, knit, purl.
purl,
Yep.
a knit.
Okay, so you do that in pattern. And then do you pick them up from the...
And then,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
all
then
you're
you
going
pick
to do,
them up from the cable?
right. And you can just knit right off of the cable needle. You're going to need to arrange your work a little bit, move your
Okay.
yarn back there.
In pattern.
Exactly, in pattern. So just
Okay.
the stitches exactly as they appear. So here it's, again, it's always just a knit,
Purl, knit, purl.
You always start with a knit.
Okay, Eunny, well, that's really great. And then you're going to put them back on
Well-
the needle simply by taking them off of the...
Just knitting them
Cable
right
needle,
off of
right?
the cable needle, and they're on this side. And if you see here, they're crossed. Begins with a knit, and on the other side, they've been crossed as well, beginning with a knit and moving across to the
okay,
side.
so that's what makes them reversible.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, that is great, Eunny. You're so fabulous. We'll be right back.
Knitting Daily. Make time for yarn every day. Visit our website for free access to all the patterns, project ideas, tips, and techniques from this season of Knitting Daily. Log on and get printer-friendly patterns and more at knittingdailytv.com. This is show 301. Take your knitting to the next level. Visit knittingdailytv.com for your free e-booklet of 13 tips, hints, and secrets to improve your knitting skills from the designers featured on Knitting Daily TV. Knitting Daily has been sponsored in part by Interweave Magazines and Books, inspiring, encouraging, and supporting creative self-expression through art and craft media. Interweavestore.com. Webs, America's Yarn Store, a source for knitting and crocheting yarns and supplies. Yarn.com. Taki Stacy Charles, feel the desire, knit your passion. TakiStacyCharles.com. TNNA, the National Needle Arts Association, the organization for independent needle arts retailers, TNNA.org.